Okay, so here are my 3 containers, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting some flowers in here. I think the hub probably got me some really pretty, oh my gosh, he did get me some pretty ones to put in here. So there's some azalea, and I won't know what all these things are. I told him to get me some greenery too, because I thought that'd be pretty in there. So there's some of that. And let's see. Oh, daffodils. This will be pretty. I need some scissors. Okay, let's see. Pretty daffodils. I cut them off at an angle. I used to work at a florist shop. I don't know if that's really necessary, but I will. Cut them at a nice angle. Just fill up this middle one a little bit first. And I like that he got me a lot of greenery because that'll add to it. There we go. Oh, these look like they're buds ready to bust open. So I usually like to take off the bottom stems here. Ooh, that's kind of blurry for you, isn't it? Move this out of the way. Maybe there we go. I'll put some of these in here. We've really gotten a nice selection of stuff. Put some right here. This is going to look really pretty, and I'll take a picture of it to show you when it's done. Some of these may be too long, but I told him to maybe get me some so I could lay them in here, and that will help to hide the containers, since they're just old junky containers. Found a lot of nice stuff. All different colors. Kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. Wow, look at this greenery. This is cool. I don't know if you guys can see. There we go. Maybe you can see better what I'm working on now. So this stuff, I might just want to peel some of it off like that and stick it down in here to kind of hide the containers. This is just my bring the outside in happy time arrangement. Nothing fancy. Let's see, there's some more daffodils. So some of these, I'll rearrange these later. I'm just putting them in here quickly now for you so you can see them. Our daffodils are kind of past their prime. And he just got me some long pokey things too, for some extra height if I wanted it. And let's see. It's really looking like just a little hodgepodge of stuff, but that's exactly what I was hoping. I don't want that one in there. I need to change it the way it is. That maybe. Have one hanging down low like that, like it's coming out a little bit. There we go, that's looking good. Can you see? Let me move them real quick. There we go. Well, let's see what else we got here. Some more of these. And I'm just playing around, you know. I'm not, and he just went out and got a hodgepodge of stuff, so obviously the colors aren't going to be perfectly perfect. But you can get the idea, and you can see how much fun this is just to bring the outside in, the happiness in. That, okay, that's looking really pretty. Can you see it? I think it's looking beautiful. Can't move my tripod because I'll knock it over like I did that one class we had. Ooh, here's some I haven't used yet. Look at these, aren't they pretty? So I'll put some on this side, making sure to get them down into the water. And back here perhaps. This piece that's hanging down like this at an angle, I think that would be really pretty. Coming out over here, it's too long. make it a little shorter. Not getting it into the pot. Yep. Still a little bit too long, I think, here. There we go. And just let it kind of hang out. Okay. I think it's looking rather pretty. Can you see it? Let's see if I can scroll in a little bit. How pretty those flowers are. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Okay, I think I'll, since I have some red on that side, maybe I'll put a little red berries on this side. Just kind of even it out. And maybe just the tiny little red berries in the front. And I don't even think they need to be in the water. Let's see, do we need anything else? It's looking pretty crazy wild, but I'm loving it. I'm liking to bring the outside in. A little bit more of the greenery. It's a little taller in the back. Like that. Perhaps. Okay. All right. I think that's pretty good for right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a photo of this so that y'all can see just how pretty it is later. One more piece maybe. Where should I put this? I'm going to turn this my way for a sec. So what you also could do if you don't like to find flowers in your own yard or you don't have them, what you could do is go to the grocery store and just buy 2 4-inch pots, because I think those would fit in there pretty well. My poor little daffodil looks sad. Not, like I said, in the best of shape. Okay, so let me hold it up a little bit for you, or tilt it your way a little bit. So can you see it? Okay, I think that's really pretty. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the vinyl on it. So I'll be right back. Hey everybody, PattyAnne here. I'm going to show you how you can make this with some vinyl text on here out of a tin, a galvanized tin that you can get inexpensively at Joanns, and I'll have the link for you down below. These are just flowers that my husband went and picked for me in the backyard. So talk about a cheap way to do this, and we'll have flowers flowering out there all summer long. So this will be a nice way to bring some happiness and some prettiness and some springtime into my house since we're stuck in here. So what I did was I bought this container, and then I'm really frugal. I have saved glass containers all for a long time. My mom used to always save pie tins. When your pie came from like the A&P grocery store, my mother would save the pie tins, and I guess I took after her a little bit because I don't save pie tins. I don't even buy pies like that, but I do save glass jars for some crazy reason. So I had 3 glass jars that I just went and got out of the cupboard that I've been saving them in. One was from spaghetti sauce. One was from kimchi, if you know what that is. And this one, I'm not sure what this one was from, but it says it was founded in 1976 and it's organic. Oh, so you can't even see these. These are the little, so the jars are inside here filled with water, and that's what I put the plants into. But today what I'm going to show you how to do is how to make the vinyl sign that goes on here. Now, as you know, on my Facebook group, we had a little bit of a drawing on which one of these you like the best. And number 2 was winning for the longest time. So that's the one I went with. Anyway, the other supplies that we'll need for today, of course, are Cricut mats. I have 3 different colors of vinyl I'm going to use. Transfer paper, since this is not HTV, this is simply Cricut removable vinyl, and I decided to use removable vinyl in case I wanted to remove it and put a different sign on here. So here it was my transfer tape too that I guess you probably couldn't see, and my Cricut mat is down here, so there you can see better now. All right, so I have those 3 colors, and I also have a ruler and my weeding tool. So if you're new to Cricut Design Space or using a Cricut or a Silhouette, you need a weeding tool to weed your vinyl. And then I've already done one just for a sample for me to play with. So what I did was when I weeded this, there was vinyl all over this, and I used this little tool to remove the pieces that I didn't want. But I'll show you that again. So let's go up to my desktop and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. All right, here we are in Cricut Design Space. And this was the one that won, I thought, the Bloom Where You Are. So originally, let me hide this piece for just a sec. Originally, what I did was I went ahead and measured how much space I thought I had to use on my container. So the container measures 14 inches across, and I know that because I measured it, and it also says so on the bottom, but there are handles that come up like this at an angle, and they're also measuring those in, so I didn't really have 14 inches to work with. What I decided I wanted to work with was about 8 inches by about 5 inches. So I made a box that big. The other thing that you can do if you don't just want to make a box was I went online to Joanns and found this image of the exact planter that I bought, and I made it the exact dimensions that it is. It's 14 inches, so I'll make it 14, right there's close, by about 5. So there we go, just like that. So the way I was able to do that by this tool right here, or this four-headed arrow, I came up here and unlocked this lock. If the lock was locked, it would keep resizing proportionately, and I wanted to change it to just how I wanted the width and the height to be. So I unlocked that. So now these were the ones that we also could have voted on, but these were not the winners. I'm just going to delete these. And by the way, let me show you where I found these. I found these in Cricut Access. I do have Cricut Access, and I like using it if I want to make something quickly. So to find these images, here's all I did. I came here to Images, and then I came up here. Well, let me, I typed in the word Bloom, really, and hit Enter. And when I typed in the word Bloom, I found all of these different things, and I was remembering, keeping in mind the shape I had to work with. So this is one I clicked on to save, and once you click on it to save it, it goes down in this little trough down here, which means you're saving it and you may want to use it. I don't like this one, Be Always Blooming. I mean, the sentiment is okay, I just hate that text. I just think it's so hard to read. This is another one I chose, Spring in Bloom. That was another one I chose. And then the third one that I chose, and you can choose any of these you see that you like. Let Your Dreams Bloom would have been cute. I thought there is a third one that I found somewhere. But I don't need to search all over for that, because that's not really what our goal is here today. Our goal, I'm just checking to see if I see it really quickly. Nope. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to click and say Insert Images. We have these two down here selected, and I'm going to insert them, because our goal today is just to see how in the world you cut this vinyl with your Cricut machine. It would work the same with a Cameo too. And then how do you adhere it to this really cool little planter thing. So I'm going to insert those images, and there they come in just like this and this. So that's how I got the original images that you guys voted for on the Facebook group. So I'm going to get rid of these because these were not the ones that were voted in. And I'm just going to save this one because this is the one that was voted in. So I think it came in a lot too big, because remember now, we made this thing the size of the real one. So if I cut this out of vinyl, it wouldn't even fit on the front of that thing. So with the lock locked, I can go ahead and make it smaller like this. And that's going to fit pretty perfectly just like that. If I wanted to stretch it more, if I wanted it to fit more from side to side, I could unlock this lock up here and just stretch it like this so it'll be wider. Kind of makes it disformed a little bit, but not too bad. Bloom Where You Are Planted. But I think I liked it a little tiny bit smaller. So I'm going to leave it like that. So when you get things that are in Cricut Access, they're ready to go just like this. I mean, I am ready to go now. All I have to do is unclick this eyeball over here, because this happens to be the container, and I don't need that to print or cut or anything. So I can hide it with this eyeball. So the next thing I'm going to do then is I'm just going to look at these guys, and I'm just going to go over here to make it. And they're going to be made on 3 different mats. I've got the black mat that says where you are. The green mat will be next, and that's planted. And the final mat would be bloom. So this is ready to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you back down here. Move some of my things out of the way to this desktop here. Take off my protective sheet and save this. You always put it back on to keep your mat really clean. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to look back up at this screen. Look at the size that I need. I need a piece of vinyl that's about 8 inches by 1.5 inches. Okay, I'm making it a little bit bigger here and a little bit bigger down here just to make sure I have enough. So if we look back down here, I can, I know that each 2 of these are 1 inch. So if I want 1.5 inches, I need 1, 2.5 of these little squares, and that would be enough. So what I can do with this, now if I was up on my regular tabletop here, I have a mat there that I could cut it with an X-Acto knife and my ruler, but since I don't have that available to me right here, I'm just going to go ahead and cut on this line with a pair of scissors. So this is for my black. So let's look up here again. It's going to be where you are. So I'm down here again at my mat. All I have to do is take this vinyl piece and put it on here. And I kind of, whoopsie, I want to make sure it stays up at the top. Of course, I cut both sides of this, so it's not very straight. So do the best I can. And I want to make sure that there aren't any bubbles in this. So a lot of times I like to pick it up like this and look, and that looks perfect to me. So now what I'm going to do is bring my Cricut over here. I have a Cricut Explorer Air. I'm going to open it. Get this ready to go. Now I always leave my Cricut, and you probably can't see this right here, but this little dial, maybe if I move this a little bit, this dial right here, I always have it pressed to custom, and then I never forget to change my setting. So with that on custom, I'll come up here back to my desktop or my Cricut software and come down here and say continue. It's going to connect to my Air 2, and when it does, it's going to ask me to please choose the material that I'm going to use. Well, I want to show you down here again. If you look at down here, you can see on this material that it says Cricut Removable Premium Vinyl. Cricut Removable Premium Vinyl. So all I have to do then is come up here and go to where it says Browse All Materials right here. Click on that. And for categories, I'm going to go to Vinyl. And I'm going to go to Premium Vinyl because there is no Premium Vinyl Removable. So I'm just going to use Premium Vinyl right there. Click on that and say Done. All right, so if we come back over here to my machine now, if I move it forward, maybe you'll be able to see. And this way, I'm going to knock it off the table if I'm not careful. You probably still can't see it. Let's see. There you go. You can see that this light is blinking. That means it's ready to be loaded. So I can just hit that button, and that loads that mat right into my Cricut. And then the next thing I have to do is to just click on this over here again, this little button, the Cricut, that's going to go ahead and start the cutting. Let me move this back and do that. And so now if we look up at my software again, you can see that it's cutting, and right now it says it is 7% done. Now it's 13% done, so we just have to wait until it finishes. And while this is cutting, I'm going to look back at the chat to see what you guys have been chatting about. And as soon as this is done, I'm going to pull my mat out. Let's look down here again. Okay, so that's done. I can hit the double-headed arrow over here on the right-hand side of my machine, pop that out, and I can take this right off of here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this aside for now, because I'm going to put my next color on here, so that can be cutting while I'm weeding the black. So if we go back up here to my screen, let's see, the next color is going to be this green. And I can see the size that I'm going to need for that is about 1.5 by 8. Okay? It's going to be this one. So I'm going to get a piece of the green out, and I'll cut this at about 1.5 all the way across again. So there's 1, and there's a half. So I'll do 1.5 right on this line here. And I only need 8, but that's okay. I'll just use the whole way across. I'll bring my mat back down. And I'll put this on my mat. Like that. And again, I'll make sure there aren't any bubbles in here. I could use a squeegee if I wanted to squeegee it. It's ready to be placed in. And I know that because this little double-headed arrow on the right-hand side of my Cricut, and I wish y'all could see that. Okay, that little double-headed arrow on my Cricut is flashing, and that means it's time to put my mat in, so I can hit that. Once my mat is in properly, this light is going to blink. That means it's time to go, it's time to hit, it's time to start. I still have premium vinyl selected as my custom amount or custom material, so I can hit go on this, and that is going to start cutting. Move this over so we have room to weed this a little bit now. So again, to weed, you use a tool like this. It's very sharp on one end, and you just kind of look and see. So I know that the word stops right there, so I can get rid of that piece. I don't need that. And I can kind of see, and you probably cannot, but I can see where the letters are on here. So I'm just going to start right here, weeding. Weeding again means taking the extra pieces off of vinyl that you will not be needing in your final product. So I have 2 pieces here, the backing. Look at that. This is going to weed perfectly, I bet. Look how nice this is weeding. Again, this is Cricut vinyl. A lot of times people say don't care for Cricut vinyl, but it's weeding pretty well for me. If you're in the market to buy some Cricut vinyl, I do have links for all things Cricut down below. And I appreciate it when you use my links. It gives me a little extra bonus, tiny little one. Helps me to keep going. So what I usually do is when I weed this part off, I don't throw it away right away, in case there's a piece on here that I discover later that I should have saved. So I don't crumple it all up and throw it away. Just kind of put it off to the side for a minute. Then I'll take this and I'll weed out the other little pieces that I don't need anymore. Seems like my weeding tool is getting a little bit dull, so I might want to sharpen it or get a new one, or use a pin or my pin pen that I have, which you may have heard of. A pin pen. Let me show you what that is. It's simply this. It's a pen that has a pin, P-I-N, in it. And it's very sharp. And I guess there are directions online on how you can make your own with a pencil and a pen. But this thing, you see how that works? I can just stick that pin right down into there, and usually it pops it right off. I seem to be having issues a little bit. There we go. All right, so there you go. There's one line where you are. Let me set that aside, and look at this one's ready now. I'll pop it out, and we'll take this one off the mat. This again, pull it off, and this is the removable vinyl by Cricut, and I'm purposefully using the removable in case I want to change my sentiment later. You know, maybe around Christmas time I'd like to put something Christmassy on here, and I'll be able to remove this and change it. So before I start weeding this one, I'll get the final color ready. If we look up here, the final color that I need is the red. And notice it is also about 1.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So I'm going to get my red color out. I think I'm going to have to cut off a crazy little edge of this. Yeah, I think I'll just cut this little square off and save it. Sometimes what I do is I just roll this little piece up and put it inside. Looks like I already had some stuff inside this one. Okay. So now I'm going to do the 1.5 inches, so on this line right here. Let me see if you can see. There you go. On 1.5, on this line right here, I'm going to cut. And this is a piece I don't need. That's what I do. I'm going to put this on here. Again, trying to make sure I don't get any bubbles in it. Kind of slant it towards me and see, looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna put it in here. My double-headed arrow is flashing, which means I can load my mat. And now the C for Cricut is flashing, and that means I can hit that and it will start. So while that's starting, I will go ahead and weed this. And again, weeding just means to get rid of the extra parts that you don't need. So look how beautifully this one's weeding also. Really nicely. A little bit of extra stuff I'll have to get rid of, but not too bad. And again, just in case something goes wrong, I don't ball this all up into a ball. I try to keep it as clean as I can. Whoops. And just put it off to the side in case there's a piece on there that I need to salvage or save. Now I can use my pin pen to get rid of these inner parts. And I think that's all I need. So now we have to have the word bloom where you are planted. So let's get the final one off and weed it. And then it will be time for our transfer tape, which allows us to pick this off, of here and then place it on our object. But I'll show you that in just a sec. So let's remove this. I can close my machine and actually turn it off and pull this off of here. Move this mat out of the way, but before I do want to put its protective sheet back on, like that, so it doesn't get dusty. Okay, and now let's see, what part can I save? This from here. The extra piece. If I want to be really frugal, I could save these. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting overrun with stuff I'm saving. Okay, there we go. And one more time, I'm saving this big old piece here, just in case. Stick it on the side of my desk until I'm all done. And now I'll use my pin pen or my weeding tool and get rid of the inner parts of these. Okay, there we go. Bloom. Okay, so we have bloom where you are planted. Now, I'm going to have a little bit more trouble doing this because I'm working backwards. You know, I started this out as a live video, then I had to switch because I got blown off. So I'm going to try to do this like this. Bloom. I don't know if I should start, let's see. Let's put planted down here and see what's going to happen. If I put planted here, where you are, bloom. Okay, it's going to fit just perfectly, and I can put this about 1/4 of an inch from the top. So here we have this first one I'm going to do, and I'm going to get a squeegee and my transfer paper, which is a little larger than what I need right now. This is Cricut transfer paper. Let's move this back so you can see better. So take this off of here. So I like to usually put mine in a U shape like this and just go down on here like that. And I'm going to take my squeegee tool and squeegee on top of the word, just like that. And now, let's take this and let's check it out and see if I squeegeed it enough. Yeah, that looks like it's going to be, look at this, And people complain about Cricut vinyl. I don't know why. That came off perfectly. So I don't need that backing piece anymore. So I'm going to try to center this as best I can. Whoa. Okay, gotta be really careful because I gotta work underneath these flowers and stuff. So let's see. Bloom. Bloom. Okay, I'm gonna go for that. Like I said, ordinarily I would never be working with this at this angle. If you can see what I'm doing. Maybe if I put my machine this down now a little bit lower, you can see better. Here. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I put this on here and I'm squeegeeing it, and see, I got a leaf underneath there. Oh, I'm gonna come and see if this is gonna come off. Let me squeegee a little bit more. And let's see how this is gonna work. I don't think I did it enough yet. Again, this is a hard way to work with this already sideways like this. So I'm pulling this back at an angle. You see how I'm doing that? Right back, like straight back on itself. Got another piece of plant. Bloom. You can't see. I think that worked. All right, bloom. Let me move my transfer tape, and I like to stick it back on here for a second, get my next piece ready. Let's see where you are. So I'm going to put that underneath. So again, I take my transfer tape, move this back for a moment, and I usually make it in a U shape. And I'm kind of wishing I had not left this much transfer tape up here, because it's going to go over top of my first word a little bit. So here's hoping it doesn't bother it. Okay, bloom where you are. I kind of feel like I need to kneel down. Bloom where you are. I better not move it around too much, and I got that a little bit crooked, I think. But again, you won't be working like this. This is just because of the issue I had with being live a little while ago. Who sees my squeegee? Anybody? Where did it go? Oh, when in doubt, just get you another one. There's another squeegee that I have that I use. Hopefully that's going to stick just fine. And again, I'm pulling it back at an angle right on top of itself. Bloom where you are. And I can see now that maybe I could have made the text a little bit larger. Okay, bloom where you are, and the last word is planted. Bloom where you are, planted. Again, squeegee this down, turn it over, and pull this off. Perfect. Look at that. I'm telling you guys, it's perfect. Okay, bloom where you are. And that's going to drive me nuts, this extra piece. There we go. Bloom where you are planted. Bloom where you are planted. I am really loving this, you guys. I think it turned out beautifully. Whoopsie. The only thing I might have done differently, and I'm having a hard time getting that really close because it's too long. The only thing I might have done differently was to make the text just a tiny little bit bigger, but this way it really doesn't distract at all from, where'd my, I lost a little bit of my tea. Did you see that? I'm gonna go back and burnish that down, see if I can get it to stay. Stay there, you. Don't want to lose that. There we go. Perfect. Bloom where you are planted. Let me find my... So there's two sides to this paper that the transfer paper stays on. You put it back on the shiny side, and you can save it and reuse it again and again and again. So, all right, so let's go down a little bit lower and see now if you can see how cute this turned out. I think it's super cute. I love it. I hope you do too. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I'm still trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. And again, you can arrange these however you want and find whatever flowers you can find in your yard. I think my hub did a pretty good job of going out there and finding these. Like I said, the daffodils are a little bit lacking. Not too badly though. Let's see. I love it. I love it a lot. Thanks you guys. Thanks for joining me. Bye.